Hear you, Dave.
All right,
Can you
perfect.
hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, I think it's just Rich.
All right, well, it's 6:30, so welcome everyone to the District 3 Advisory Board for Wednesday, October 4th, and we are going to start by approval of the agenda. Sorry. Wrong day. Have you approved the agenda? No. Okay, I have a motion to approve the agenda by Michael Boozer and second by Jeffrey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Real quick, Madam Chair, I believe Rich is still can't hear. Can you hear us yet, Rich?
We're gonna microphone. We're going to go to here. Pick your microphone. See if you can hear this microphone.
Wow, we got a full house here today, no?
Can you hear that?
You hear now?
Can you give us a thumbs up if you can hear? Well, I guess all the great instructions I just gave them.
Right. I mean, we're next, everybody else is here, we can't. So,
Maybe you could call it on something.
yeah.
Right. No, you can't hear.
He's asking if you speak louder. Can you?
Speak louder. If I speak louder, Rich, can you hear me? I'm raised 8 kids. I can certainly speak loud.
Yeah, 7 of them still on.
So we're going to move forward with approval of the minutes for September 6th. Have a motion by Mr. Luke and second by Gentry. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then we're gonna get off into staff reports. So first up, we have Wichita Fire Department.
Howdy, everybody.
Could you come to the podium?
Yes.
Thank you.
Fine, thank you. Don't be shy.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Will you say your name again, please?
Lieutenant Gifford. 22, right down the road here. I'm just gonna run down through the numbers for this past month. District 3, correct?
Yes, sir.
We had 2 accidental fires, 1 incendiary and 1 in the terminal. Fortunately, those were not on our ship, but I can have exactly what's going on. I also can give you the total loss for the city, as far as dollar wise. Accidental fire, 210,000, incendiary, 54,190. Undetermined fires are 108,150. Still under investigation, they're at 80,000. That comes to a total of 452,340.
questions over that? Any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Any questions on the public? I see that at this time. Thank you.
No,
No,
it's
it's-
thank you, guys. You probably. I do have a question. Do you guys need a Mr. February for your? What's the laughter about? Come on, guys.
Have you been trying?
We'll say it's no.
Oh, I need-
November 5th.
No?
Yes.
Our doors closed, right?
I think they're-
Yeah. All right, thank you all
Yeah,
for
thank you.
for everything that you did. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 2, report by Wichita Police Department.
Hello, can you guys all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome. I'm Officer Jensen. I'm 26 beat, which is primarily covers South City area. So a few things to update you guys on. Number one is we have recruits that are out currently in the FTO program or in the field training program, doing very well and getting ready to graduate to get on their own shortly, which we're excited for. Currently in our recruit class, we have 24 recruits, with 7 of those being female. They're in week 11 and they're set to graduate in January. So we're excited to get some more bodies out again. And the department is focusing a lot on recruiting, upping our recruiting efforts to try to, be able to get more officers in to get us back to where we need to be. For District 3, realistically, all the stats have decreased slightly, but the one thing that we have seen a little bit of an uptick in is auto thefts to Hyundais and Kias, and primarily around apartment complexes. We believe that it's either juveniles or young adults that are smashing the window, and then they're tearing out the steering column, and then stealing the vehicle. They go for a joyride. They normally crash them and then bail and take off and eventually steal another vehicle. So we end up finding the vehicle, but there's a lot of damage to them when we get them back for the owners. So our team is working with the detectives, the auto theft detectives, and we're putting together a special assignment to be able to address this and hopefully be able to identify and apprehend these suspects. And going with special assignments, we're also preparing for the holiday season, preparing special assignments for theft in general, and then also for porch pirates. Obviously, with the holidays coming up, there's a lot of people ordering Christmas presents and different things that will be delivered to their houses. So we're trying to stop the people that go around stealing those from doing so. And then lastly, our team has been working very closely with detectives and the violent crimes unit. Anytime a violent crime comes out during the day or even overnight, we're working with them to identify, locate, and then apprehend these suspects, which has led to us being, I believe it's the highest, if not one of the highest in the nation, clearing these violent crime calls. So we take great pride in that and work very hard to do it in a quick manner to be able to get resolved for the victims in those cases. So that is what I have. Are there any questions?
Is there any questions from the public? Yes.
I have a question. Officer Jensen, you are a CP officer, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So 2044 South Water, which is real close to where we are at. You know that South Water, are you familiar with that address?
Not specifically the address, but I'm familiar with that area.
Well, I think you look in your notes and you see you will be familiar with that address. They had the big RV going the wrong direction, a drug house, all kinds of crap in the yard. 2044, you were the one that was on this email that the lady's been talking with, so.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I know what you're talking about now.
Honestly, I'm not here to make friends right. It was shameful for that to get to that position. I had to get with the city councilor and then I had to get with the captain over there. And it's just a few blocks from you guys. It's just up the street here. And to let it get that sad, shape is wrong. I'm just
Is
saying.
there a question?
Really?
This is questionnaire time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, do your job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, I guess? Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, we're moving on to, Wichita.
I may have mentioned last time that we have a design process for new library cards. So just a reminder, if you have any inclination of an artistic matter for teens, kids, and adults, we'll have 3 new library cards for you to choose from, starting this in the winter. The author Craig Johnson, anybody a Longmire fan? He wrote a series, a Western series, and it's mystery as well, Netflix series. He's coming to the library on October 10th at 6 o'clock, Advanced Learning Libraries, in partnership with Watermark Books. We have actually, we have on the 24th of October at the Advanced Learning Library, the Tuesday Topics program will be to meet in 2023, which is coming. It's moderated by the League of Women Voters and intended to inform our voters about the candidates' platforms. It's not a debate, rather than just sharing their ideas. So all invited and welcome to point that. Last thing I want to mention, we're in the process right now of interviewing for the new librarian at the Walter Branch. So it's in process. As soon as we get that person on board, we'll be able to.
That date again, please.
For
The debate, or not the debate, the meet and greet or wherever it is. For the mayoral candidate.
yes. October 24th,
And.
the advanced learning line.
Amy, thank you so much. Appreciate all your time. All right, we're gonna move on to the schedule items. So we'll go to off agenda items, agenda item number 5. Is there any individual that did not request to speak on the public agenda? It looks like George, and George, if you want to step up, you'll have 3 minutes.
Yeah, same thing, Marshall would be after.
Yes.
And before we get going here, just so people know, there's treats, cookies back there. Feel free to help yourselves. We got a bigger crowd here than we usually do, but I think there's plenty to go around, and blame my wife for the size. She got these things.
No, could you go,
Okay. Podium?
Please.
Okay, all right.
And then you'll have 3 minutes.
Let's see what we can do. Got 4 things real quick. The airport, I've been trying to get, when you get off, gate 4 at Southwest, people don't know where to go to get the, baggage claim, which is sad. I asked the gate agent there, 12 different ones, yes, it's a problem. I finally got it worked. I think, I went back in front of Marco and the group. So I think they're gonna be working that. Then another thing, when you're driving out of there, it's 15 miles an hour and it's like a quarter mile around the turn before it turns to 25. So legally, you can get a ticket 15 to 25 when there's no people around. They put a sign in it for 25 back here around the corner where the people stop. So finally, they're listening down there. It's not the director, the second command should make director. But anyhow, we over in Grandview Meadowlark, we're having a cleanup this weekend. In sad situation, our city councilor had to deliver many hundreds of newsletters. We had to put off the neighborhood cleanup because Mike Lou is going to be 81 next Saturday. He was going to be out of town for his reunion, so we had to wait for him to come back. That's sad. We got to go. No, we did. We did, because we couldn't have done it without you, and that's sad. So I want to bring that. So to put this cleanup, I don't have the good Meadowlark map. Mike gave me one, so I went to go get copies at our neighborhood assistant. Went to go get copies. And they said, oh, well, no, you need to go to Office Depot. We'll give you a couple, 5 or whatever. And I'm saying, this is for our neighborhood cleanup. My city councilor is in the neighborhood. Yeah, it don't matter. Go to Office Depot. So I'm a little upset by that. I mean, neighborhood assistant, am I not poured up? I don't know. I don't know what the problem was, why. A neighborhood assistant, it's in the letter, the name of the place. All right. Forget that now. We'll go on to something different. But I want to appreciate those guys for stepping up. We have the bears coming, and we'll know tomorrow what it's going to be. I guess it's not a debate either. So, but they're coming on October the 16th to the Mead neighborhood meeting at 6:30 at the Center Church. So they'll be there for that. And so, I had 2 other things, but I guess it's probably close to my 3 minutes. I don't know, is there time somewhere up there?
We've got about, you're at the agreement.
All right, well, hopefully someone will bring something up and I'll say something about it, but.
Can you just give us your name?
Oh, yeah, George Steele Harris, president of Grandview Meadowlark in the Mead neighborhood. So, well, we have cleanup this weekend in Mead, and then one the following weekend in Grandview Meadowlark. So, no, vice versa. Grandview Meadowlark this Saturday, and then Mead next week. All right, thank you.
Any questions for the dad? Yes. Up there and give us your name, you'll have 30 minutes.
Thank you so much. My name is Marco Alcocer, I live in 3516 East Grade. Basically, the reason why I'm here in front of you today is because I know you all love District 3. And NASA recently informed us that there is overheat in the city of Wichita. And discussing the problems because of course the environment that we live in. So there is overheating cars and factories and all that. So the solution that they have right now is the partial solution is to have trees around the city, and they identify certain areas of the city, like the north side and the west side of the city as very dangerous for overheating because the ground they have different levels of maps. I don't know if you have seen the maps that they have that they say the parks and recreations, but they have different maps that show the different levels of a canopy of trees, the different heating indexes in the different neighborhoods. And those areas are the ones that have more difficulties, the west and the north. But also on our southeast area is we're going to this change. And some long time ago, when I was in K-15 Neighborhood Association, I asked them if it would be a good idea to have trees along K-15, because you see passing Pony, there are trees on the Southeast Boulevard that beautify and also basically help the heat index in the area. So if we put trees, the proposal is to cut trees and K-15 from, I think it's Blake, one block north of Pony to MacArthur in the medium, medium, if you have trees on that area, that will help mitigate those problems at least in the southeast of our city. And that's my proposal is to not just to have them where it's more necessary, but it's supposed to be north and west, but also to have it in an area because they're according to what I'm reading about the city buy about 1,800 trees a year. They have to get rid of about 3,000 trees. And so we have a deficit of trees in some areas. So this is my proposal to you. I know that you guys, you are the district that will go here, and that's why we handle the district. And it's something that I didn't investigate what not to trees concerned to us, to which is that the park conversation, and that's that we learn about. You know, it was put in the news and all that, so that's why I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any question for me?
That,
This is for Councilor Bullhead. Is there, another retreat policy or plan that was drafted in the summer? Is that done?
Yes, what happened is that right now we have the opportunity, that's what I'm talking about, is we have the opportunity to have those trees. Because right now, the city is giving in different areas, you know, it was like something that Parks and Recreations is discussing right now. So probably something that our city council can put in on the other council members and discuss about this possibility.
Okay, if I may.
yes,
Yeah, we recently, I believe it was last Tuesday, we did the workshop or 2 Tuesdays ago on the tree policy. He's not wrong, we're losing about 3,000 trees a year. Possibly more than that. Our plan is, it's still coming up short, but about 1,800 trees that we are intending to plant. We have funding for the city through parks for planting some of this. We're also looking at grants, working with USD 259 and identifying groups that we can help give saplings to or give seeds to and plant them that way, whether it's in a person's yard, the right of way, which I'm making sure that we're going to keep track of what streams are the cities that we're putting in the easements. If people desire one. This plan is something I'll pass along and either we can partner with an outside group. I know the tree canopy group is out there now. There's a couple of different groups who might be interested in aiding with this as well. And
another reason why I think it will be a good idea to have it in paper team because it's the entrance. It's one of the entrances to Wichita. You know, paper team, and there is no really a welcome sign or anything like that. You go to downtown, there is a big welcome sign in right on Hello. When you enter downtown, that nobody can see. I don't know if you guys have noticed, there is a very welcome, beautiful welcome architecture. You probably have seen it, George, in downtown, but nobody can see it because, and I think that thing should be moved in our area, or at least in one of the entrances of which, for example, we are from there, the other people come from the city of Melbourne. What is the other city in the south? Melbourne. And Walden, yeah, Walden, there's a lot of people coming every day, you know. And nobody's welcome, other than myself, nobody was welcome there. Okay, so it will be a nice idea to have a sign over the there is another area in the southwest that you can also have a welcome sign. And I don't know, some big cities have it. But having in places that you can see it. The one that we have, I don't know if you guys identify the one that I'm talking about. There is a structure right in downtown Wichita. Now I think you turn on Main, you know, and there is that big welcome sign that nobody can really see because everybody's driving, you know, it's not something that we can see on the highway. Like when you work on city or when you work on another city. So I'm just passing up.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank
Like I said, I got it right here in my notes and I'll talk it over with, Parks and Public Works and see what's possible.
Any questions for me?
And that is, based off of the NASA heat map that he was talking about. So
Yes.
they look at the hottest parts of the city. It's the ones with a lot of concrete, a lot of asphalt and not a lot of trees. So this helps with electric bills, you know, a lot of people who, I mean, I don't like my electric bill, especially the way it's been going up, but all sorts of things and just overall, just how you want to live, the type of environment you want to have around. So we're focusing on a lot of our tree planting efforts in those areas. And Marco was right because a substantial number of those was in the 3rd district as well as the 1st district, part of the 6th and the 4th district as well. So it's definitely something to look at, and you know, we all might be long gone by the time these trees mature, but you know, setting the stage for our children, our grandchildren, nieces and nephews, to have the kind of city that we want them to have. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Marco.
Thank you.
If you guys are interested in in seeing this, excuse me, the September 26th is when that was shown in their workshop. So you can find that on the city workshop links, wichita.gov.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one last thing. I had talked to Michael Holheisel about this. I think it would be a great idea, we'd be trendsetters, that we have all these advisory boards, 37 in Wichita. He's appointed 37 people or more for the board to have a list of what they do each month, or in my case, every other month, if I'm on the dog board, maybe every other month. And that way, if someone says, well, what's going on at the airport? Marco would put one little paragraph, a few sentences saying what they did at their board meeting so we had this long list. But if you want to know what's going on in parks or recreation or whatever, then you can find it. I hope that he picked that up, because that's what I ran on when I was going for that. And I think it would set us apart. And then also I want to have a banquet with all his dabs. He's got deep pockets. And I want to have a big banquet with all the dabs and any of the advisory boards that they can bring the files or May or whatever to a big, we're working on that at the end of the year in December sometime.
On to agenda item number 6, the consolidated budget.
A few different folks that will speak to tonight, but I'm kicking off. My name is Logan Bradshaw. I'm the Assistant Director for Housing and Community Services for the City of Wichita. And tonight we are here to speak with you about the 2024-2029 consolidated plan, as well as the first So before I go into the presentation, I want to do an introduction of the forefront of your mind as we're speaking to this evening. First, what are some community needs facing District 3? And then second, what are community needs that are facing the city of Wichita as a whole? So we do.
Maybe to mine. Will it go? No,
I think it's on.
let's see. Yeah, I can click it, look.
Okay.
Yeah, I can click
So
it.
each year we do receive an annual solicitation of funds from HUD for community development purposes. You can go to the next slide. Those funds are outlined here on the slide. So the first one happens to be on an annual basis, and we've received them on what we call an entitlement basis, which is based on our population as well as our poverty rate. The first one is the Community Development Block Grant Program. This is by far and large our most flexible funding source that we operate with. Our current funding year allocation is right under $3 million. And that's typically what you can expect us to receive on an annual basis. So the allocations you see on the bottom of the slide are subject to congressional approval. And so these can fluctuate. We don't see them fluctuating too much, but this will give you a frame of reference, and you're trying to understand what resources we have to work with each of these really entitlement grant programs. The next entitlement grant that we have is our home investment partnerships program, our home dollars. And so these are all about the production of affordable housing for low and moderate income Michigans. The last grant we have, which as you can see is a lot smaller than the others, is our emergency solutions grant for our ESG grant program. And this is the grant that we have to run workshop community. And so before we start jumping in and talking about setting spending priorities and goals for our consolidated plan, it's important for us to educate you on what a consolidated plan is. And so a comp plan is a tool that helps jurisdictions address the community development and affordable housing needs within the context of local market conditions. And so we are required as a recipient of these three federal grant programs to complete a consolidated plan every 5 years. And so that process is extremely extensive. It's one that, which you'll learn a little bit more about it when people do the unfortunate presentation, but it includes high-level data analysis, from various other sources, continuum of care, HMIS data as well. And it includes a very extensive public input and community consultation efforts. And so this year, we've decided that we were going to bring on a consultant, and though that's new for the city of Wichita, that's not unique to jurisdictions across the country. Many jurisdictions bring on consultants to help facilitate this process, and it really gives an outsider's look at what needs are facing for community. And so,
Oh, sorry.
So that comp plan is that high level plan that takes into consideration public input, community consultations, and data analysis, and market conditions. And what it does is it sets high level goals and high level spending priorities. For every single year within that 5-year plan, we can't just submit one 5-year plan. We have to submit what's called an annual action plan to HUD that gets down on a more granular level that says, okay, in order for us to carry out the goals and priorities that we have outlined in our con plan, here's how we're going to do this for this program here. And so that doesn't want to make anything easy. Our program here, I think just 6 months, there's a lot of federal regulations and red tape, and it can be difficult to navigate. You know, I think Councilman Koheisel this week even said, you know, housing is one of the most complex city departments, and so we definitely feel that, especially.
Direction. The most complex.
I don't want to misquote you or anything, but anyway, so yeah, I just want to make anything easy, and so we don't run on a calendar year basis in the same way the city of Wichita does. We run on a program year that runs from the middle of one year to the middle of the following year. And so our con plan will cover the period from the middle of 2024 to the middle of 2029. And our first program year action plan, which we will submit to HUD for review at the same time we submit our con plan, will go from the middle of 2024 to the middle of 2025. Before I take it over to Andrew to talk about how we prioritize these funds in the past, or for our current 5-year period rather, I want to give you an overview of what our timeline was like for the consolidated planning process. And so we really started this process back in May when we started the procurement process for our consultant, and we got them on board in the middle of August. And so that's when that preliminary planning and preliminary consultation started to occur. In September, we further did the consultations, and we released a public survey, which we'll have to do our data the last slide of this presentation. And we'll continue that agency consultation and that public input really through the middle of about November. But we wanted it in front of the city council at the end of October to let you know preliminarily what we're seeing and as far as community needs, what we learned from stakeholder consultation. We actually just came from a stakeholder engagement event at the library this afternoon. And so just to present a high level of what we're seeing so far, as well as some preliminary census data and also the data that they have looked up as well. And to give you an idea, this is how we prioritize these funds in the past, and this is kind of where we're looking like we'd like to go in the future. And then to get the council input on. We thought it was important to go kind of while we're still doing the business so that council can help us get the word out as far as these consultations are taking place. If you'd like to make your input, we have about 2 more weeks to do that. And then once we go to council, we will start, really this is where we, a lot of the work for our consultants and then actually drafting consolidating and watching plan. And then we will be back to the district advisory boards during that public comment period, which will start in April. And take the consolidated plan for scope action plan to council for review and approval prior to submission. No later than the 15th. And so at this point, I will put it over to Ryan. To give an idea of how we prioritize these funds. I think 2 slides.
Thanks, Logan. As Logan mentioned, my name is Andrew Tyree. I'm a management analyst with the City of Charles Housing and Community Services Department. And I'm going to give you guys a quick kind of overview of CDBG in general, and then what we're currently, some of the activities that we're currently funding with those funds. This is CDBG. In order for an activity to be eligible for CDBG, it must meet one of the 3 national objectives. Must benefit low to moderate income persons, prevent summer blight, or address urban community needs. Obviously, it needs to be used for eligible spending activity, and not less than 70% of spending needs to go and benefit towards low and moderate income persons. There is a limit on public services, and I'll highlight those public services that we're currently funding there in just a moment, but it's a little over $1.1 million. If we are partnering with a city organization or a city department for an activity, those funds can be used only if we have an MOU, memorandum of understanding with them, and any outside private vendors, RFP process goes out for those services. And then funds cannot be allocated to a specific provider or for an ineligible purpose. Okay, so currently, we're looking at some of the activities that we've been funding: infrastructure, park improvements in low to moderate income neighborhoods, economic development, small business assistance loans, our home repair program. Maybe some of y'all have heard of that. Lower income homeowners can get apply for housing and home repairs in that program. And then MABC, we have an MOU with them, and they go out and they try to do demolition and clearance of unsafe structures. Public services on the screen here, you'll notice these are the public services that we're currently funding. In the city manager's office is the Office of Community Services. That's your Evergreen Neighborhood Resource Center, Atwater Neighborhood Resource Center, and Coleman Neighborhood Resource Centers. Our Housing First Project Coordinator funded that salary and benefits. Our Domestic Violence Shelter Services, towards those funds go towards the operation of those staffing operations of those shelters. We have Stepstone, which I'll pay the Crisis Center, Catholic Charities, Harvard House, Youth Crime Prevention and Enrichment. Again, that's YMCA, Big Sisters that were taking funds public to them and playing. That's right. They're playing the after school program and training and employment. Every summer we had a program called TM7, which is a way to work, in which we have which is 14 through 17 that we connect with jobs within the city. That gives an opportunity to be employed over the summer, and that's that activity right there. Next, our home funding strategy, as Logan pointed out, our home funds, that's for equity for those for the affordable housing in our community. Home ownership activities, that's our home aid program, the down payment assistance, and then housing development, redevelopment activities. That's our HDLP program there that goes towards the construction or rehabilitation of rental properties or owner occupied residents. Community Housing Development Organization or CHODO set aside. We do have there is a rule that 15% of our home funds must go be set aside for CHODOs. And lastly, our ESG emergency solutions grants. We have homeless assistance, homeless prevention, homeless assistance. Those go for our shelters, shelter services, within the city. Homeless prevention. Been looking at exactly what that says, trying to prevent someone from entering homelessness. So that's Center of Hope, Salvation Army. We're looking at there. In our rapid rehousing program, that's for those that are already homeless, but they just need a little bit of assistance to get into a place to be able to maintain the self-sufficiency there. So that's for rapid rehousing. And that's it. So before our consultants from WFN come up and give a big overview, I want to walk you through the process, how we were able to get a partnership with them. In February 22-23, the funding was set aside to hire a consultant for the preparation of this upcoming consolidated plan. And this is something that we haven't done before, but it's not unique to other entities, other districts, or other places across the country. And hiring consultants. In May 2023, that search began with releasing RFP, and then in July 2023, WFN was chosen to lead this development of the next plan with us. And now I'm going to ask if Annabelle will come up from WFN, which will introduce herself to Chandra and
Hello, everybody. I'm Erica Sandro. I'm with WFN Consulting. Like Andrew said, we were contracted with the city to prepare this 2029 consolidated plan. So just a little bit about our company. The company's been in existence really more than 40 years. Started by our founder, the Franklin, with WFN. And we are a company that manages federal grant programs. We assist different counties with preparing consolidated plans, action plans, fair housing documents. In a few of our jurisdictions, we actually administer programs much like the Logan on a daily basis. So we have a kind of a wide depth of experience in running the HUD programs. Like I said, we've been around for over 40 years. I've been with the company for the last 13 years. I'm working with jurisdictions all across the nation. Been a wonderful experience. I enjoy the work that I do. And I'm excited to get to know more about Wichita. We had a quick tour with these two. They took us kind of all around to all of the different districts. We went to a few DAP meetings and just got really good feedback from a lot of the organizations earlier today. So that's been really good to see. It's really helpful to us to kind of understand the needs of the community. It's going to be really helpful for us to prepare the document for you. That's the slide. I think this is kind of a little overview of who we are. Also here with us today is Chandra Williams. She's been with us for about 8 years, so she's got a wide variety of experiences still. I think this is about the survey. So what we're out here doing is just really gathering these. I know Logan, which is in the meeting, she wanted to go out and think about needs in District 3.
Even District 3 is in the community block, so all the way to Chicago. So at this point. Hear from you all, and then you'll.
My ignorance. Well, how do you blend in with ARPA, anybody at all, what is ARPA, in regards to that? These programs. Every 2 million somebody for the budget, and it looks like there's some similarities between.
This consolidated. Essentially turn into general. We do need it for. On, housing. We can utilize CDBG for housing projects as well. This plan is for the provide.
Rich or David, do you have any questions?
So I'm going to consult with, thank you so much for being here today. A lot of other cities, a lot of other jurisdictions, we're talking parent to those. And what we.
Yeah, I think that's what we're here to find out, but this was here, I mean, it's like you guys are really looking to address the issue. So, there are communities that, they. People are very aware that there's a problem housing, and you're actively working towards mitigating. To get that done, I think that's probably across the board. So, that's always an issue in every community that or large or small, that issue. But I think you all are absolutely. What we hope to provide is that information and insight, making the money go away, that you want to give their opportunity. The child is the
Just to clarify what you're looking from, what you're looking for now. What is the need of District 3? None of them probably different than our housing department experts would tell you, or like would tell you, but you would be right. I think all three. I think that homelessness is maybe one of our most pressing issues, and I think that is caused by. I think housing access is really important. So housing ability, and then just more housing in general is necessary. But I think, and I don't know how. It seems like there's a lot of ways to utilize funding beyond housing that the department does. Neighborhood resources is really. I think is a really great way to prevent some of those things that are causes of homelessness. So I think that our neighborhood resource centers are really great. Resource for people. I think that that's kind of an institutional thing that we have, that the city provides. And then I think that we've got an nonprofit here in Chicago, the neighboring movement, and they work to try and help in their neighborhoods to get to know their neighbors better and create stronger communities. And I think that's a really important opportunity to get people to care for, not just themselves, but the people that live around them. And that I think is prevent some of those awesome people. Yeah, people are, you know, about it. And I'm showing. Yeah. That's a little bit better. Than having to. Logan and. Andrew, you know, to the staff, have that information more. Even have a there to use, come back.
Anything else? There's a couple of things that I said, not only do we have a neighborhood, but neighborhood. Continue to voice my opinion about affordable housing, because in many of the conversations that I'm involved in, whether it's on the plan or the planning commission, you know, when I hear discussion about affordable housing, what I hear is I do with Urban League of Kansas, what I see is that we need more housing stock, affordable housing stock for people to buy so they become homeless. Yes, not everybody's going to want to own a home. Affordable rentals are only affordable for a period of time because they are the free price. That's why people, because they want to make money off it. Where if you buy a house, let's say your house payment is $800 a month, it's going to still be $800 and $850, depending on what your insurance goes up or whatever over the years. It's not going to go from $800 to $50. Which is what we see in this area. We see housing increase, the rents increase hugely. And I think if we don't address the issue of having affordable housing that people can buy, we can get first time. I don't think we're doing ourselves justice. Not focusing. I understand that, you know, in some areas, and I District 1, we've gone in and scraped houses because they were dilapidated. And then we lose, you know, the plumbing and all the infrastructure that came along with that house that has to be rebuilt. And I understand that developers want to go back into those properties that they buy and they want to build multifamily homes, whether it's duplexes or fourplexes or whatever. That's what they want to do because that's where they can make money. But we've got to figure out how to replace some of those single family homes and allow people to buy homes that want to buy. I don't believe, you know, there's some people that don't ever want to be, but I don't believe the amount of people that want to buy homes. I lobbying things to develop the 20-year comprehensive. That's not what we saw there. I don't see that these days. I work with lots and lots of nonprofit organizations. And it's not seeing that. Yet in the discussions that I'm hearing, the meetings that I'm in, I'm hearing rentals. Affordable, let's do affordable housing. That's rentals. I don't believe that should be our plan. I think that some affordable housing and fine, but let's not forget. We really need to get into buying homes. That's more long-term, safe, stable housing, and rentals will never be long-term, safe, stable housing.
That was able to help fewer.
Excuse me? I'm sorry. I cannot hear at all if that mic is not spoken directly into there, that one at the podium. Yeah, I think there's a mic up there somewhere. Sorry.
Can you hear her now?
Can you hear me now?
I heard you say, can you hear me now? And I can hear Cindy well from that end of the table, but the speakers at the podium are intermittent and garbled.
Okay, it's just,
Oh, I see. So my question was, or I guess I provided a little bit of context in that the majority of our home funds in the past have been really prioritized for subsidizing Redneck gap financing needed for new construction homeownership projects. And so my question was, and really, we're seeing the gap for those projects grow and grow and grow, and we're able to help fewer people than we would be able to in historically. So my question was, kind of addressing density, would you be open, or do you think that there's market demand for, condos or a new class where you don't have putting one side or, and that's not a lot, we don't have a lot of that in the shop.
I do think that our market would support that, but lots of times when I'm hearing about affordable housing and rentals, it's really about having. I know it was mentioned to me, well, you can have duplexes and sell one side or sell both sides, and you could. But I don't think most developers that I've run across in this community are trying to build duplexes so they can sell each side. They are looking for long-term income, and they're not going to get that by selling each side.
I have a quick question on the, like funding for new construction. I mean, is that what those funds have? Or, for example, could they be used to remediate a house instead of building something? Like, I feel like the south side of Wichita, and District 3 in particular, we have a lot of just like older homes, but what could be, they're smaller. They don't have a big footprint that some of the houses, on the outskirts of town have. They could be affordable, but just a lot of them, they're older. They need, if you're lucky, they just need cosmetic stuff, but they also may need some significant, plumbing updates, that kind of thing. Is that a way that maybe the city can use those funds to create more affordable housing without having to actually build houses?
Yes. Our application process for HDO is our housing development one firm. Richard, I just want to make sure, can you hear me?
Not bad right there, yeah.
And so those funds are currently made available. People can respond to that application process to propose new construction projects or rehabilitation projects. So we just don't see at least the property time. They have their model and have their plans for a new, it's easier for them because you don't know what you're going to run into when you start a project. It's hard for them to.
I think you talked a little bit more about the loan program. We did some changes to it as far as the low income housing. So if we get just a couple of details about changes that were made and the process that people could go through, I believe it's up to 45,000.
Right. So the program I was just talking about is the Housing Development Loan Program. There's for or nonprofit housing development subsidy for the program you're speaking about is also our home program. It's a home repair program, and we fund that with community development. And you're correct. We are working to make changes to that program. We have not gone live with it yet. We're still for environmental clearance on our one. I think our program manager shared a little bit about that with your staff over the last few weeks. But the way that program is currently operating is $5,000 really emergency situations, right? So down in the middle of summer, your sewer line, things that were really unexpected. And so that's how the program was designed, but we really can do much more like comprehensive, We have programs there to go up to $25,000. Tied with that, we do provide them forgivable loan. And the remainder, will stay as a, until like selling the property would be required. But that's really for existing homeowners, so existing homeowners. That come in and didn't necessarily be for developers. But that's another, avenue that we will be interested in.
An important distinction that we need to consider, when we're about this is affordable housing versus housing that's affordable. The thing is, and Logan, please don't hesitate to correct me if I'm not saying this right, but like housing that's subsidized, and then versus housing that's affordable, which is just housing that exists out there on the market and you don't need subsidies with need additional support, but you know, a person looking to buy a house could afford that without additional subsidies from the government. So I'm of the opinion, maybe different from you, Cindy, that maybe what the housing department is operating in is affordable housing, subsidized housing. And I think that a big portion of that needs to be rental housing. I think that homeownership is very important, but is becoming less and less acceptable for people. I think the need is still incredibly great. Probably maybe more than it ever has been because of rising housing costs, but it's just less acceptable for people due to the rising costs. And then Logan, to your question on is there a demand or a want for very middle income housing in Wichita? I don't know if there is, but there really needs to be. You can get a lot more housing, a lot more density in an area if you reconsider what type of housing options are available. If you have more multifamily, more courtyard housing, duplexes are great. Increase the zoning or just maybe a change in what you talk towards that. But I think more people could see what other housing types and greater density looks like and understand that it's not just a bunch of apartments. I think that could go a long way. And then I think that on the topic of housing that's affordable and that being market driven is that there's going to be significant changes to the way that our housing market operates currently. And that's not something that the housing department unfortunately can wait for the longer result. I would love it if you could, you guys are doing really great work. But that's far beyond what can just be accomplished by 5 years. The outside of the scope of the housing department, and you know, you can debate all day whether that needs to be market driven entirely by the free enterprise system or government should be, but I think for the sake of this conversation.
We don't think it doesn't happen. Any other questions for the dad, David, Rich? Comments?
I don't have any comments.
Any comments, questions from the public? Before you want to go first, and then I'll get all.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm talking as a neighbor right now. So first is the question, so can home dollars, are they meant to be used for owner-occupied units, or can they be leveraged for rent? So just our historic preferences then.
Preference, I would say. Business, right. Yeah, I wouldn't say we're giving preference.
So,
It can also be used for tenant-based rental.
so comment, I'm a new neighbor, I bought a house, love my house, so happy I got it, I'm a young Wichitan. And I walk my dog every day and there is so much light in my neighborhood. I'm very Mercer. There's so many abandoned buildings, so many empty lots, so many places that really is unfilled development. But also in my day-to-day life, I work in homeless services and there just isn't enough housing units for the number of people that we're going to have in this community. Because have more and more businesses coming in and downtown core develops and all that. So, you know, I think it's bang for the buck right now. We need to flood the market with units. It's a market right now, and making units become affordable by flooding the market with as many units as possible is probably the best strategy for keeping prices down. Long term, I'd love for it to be affordable for developers to go into these single family home lots and start building housing, but as you mentioned a couple times, Logan, it's just not as big of an impact. So I hate that my neighborhood is full of empty lots and half burned out houses and boarded up homes, but I also hate that there are people that are living in worse living situations because they don't have other options.
Well, first of all, I guess I'll start with the question, Mike. You told me how long you had been with this job. This was how many years? 13. And we haven't solved the problem yet, have we?
In Wichita?
Yeah. Still have the same problem. We still have the same problem that this agency was formed to deal with. So seems like it's kind of going on like that. Home ownership is scary to a lot of people. Now, in 1970, we got married. In 72, we bought a house. Our house payment was 25% more than our rent payment was at the time. And you know, you kind of have trouble sleeping at night, hoping the water heater don't go out or something of that nature. Then 5 years ago, we bought another home. According to Zillow, it's worth more than twice what we paid for it now. So that's what. The insurance has gone up, taxes have gone up. If I were a landlord there, the rent would go up. Yeah, that's all there is to it. You don't go in business to be a charity. You go in business to be a business, and a business survives if it makes a profit. Profit is not greed. Excessive profit possibly could be considered greed. It also could be considered good management. I don't know. Never had any of that. You know? But the next thing is, how many of these folks prefer to be homeless? You can't make them go somewhere they don't want to be. There's an awful lot of them that's perfectly happy out of the closest thing we've got to a beach, which is under a bridge. You know? So when you got drugs and you've got mental health and you got a few other things going on, I'm sure there's a lot of them you'd rather panhandle and sleep under a bridge. How do we do it?
If you're saying that should be trying to perhaps. What's about with those?
I don't know.
Or not addressing it at all.
I don't have a problem with being charitable. I have no problem with helping people who will help themselves or join in the process. Like the homes over here that they built, Ken Norton has been on building there just west of Hydraulic. In MacArthur, I think it was. I forgot what the name of the development was. They were building basically Habitat for Humanity. I think it was. And you know, those people get the keys, they don't have. What happened to them, I don't know. But I very well remember in the 60s, early 70s, when I worked in a glass shop and the city had the local housing authority. The ABCD house streets down on South Hydraulic and whatever the ones out by Region Central were. You know, they put folks in those homes and they immediately tore them up. We were there every week replacing doors, windows, screens. If they had no ownership, just had a place to get drunk and beat each other up. Yeah, I don't know. They sure didn't have a place to do. So now we've got the city is disposing of their inventory of house or some of their inventory of homes. Does this fit in with you? Are you benefiting from that?
No, I don't benefit.
Okay, so why are we, what is the purpose of us doing it? To put money in the city coffers? Where do these houses go? Do they go to people that need a place to stay? Or do they just get off the books?
We're not only- Which probably also. Clear that this plan does not necessarily govern those. But nationwide, not just in Wichita, there's over $30 billion in deferred maintenance of public housing units, and so. I'm not gonna comment on, your sentiment that people just go in there and tear up the unit. And which is not reality, but what I can tell you is that Congress has significantly underfunded. For a number of years, to the point where even if we were to continue on public housing property, we couldn't keep those units in, they're substandard, they're not places where people should be.
What the house is substandard, it's what they're for.
Well, we got on a repositioning call with HUD, and they recommended the method that we're employing now, which is disposing of those units through various. Day two, I think we issued additional notice additional open houses that we're going to be having. We're going to be disposing of those under the Section 18 program, and we are a lot of those upgrade values fall within like affordable opportunities. There's not going to be any affordability restrictions placed on those properties, so anyone can, put in an offer and have it be considered. No matter if they're owner occupied or when they utilize it as an investment opportunity, we are going to be giving a slight preference to owner occupied properties. But a number of the remaining 352 houses that our department is working to dispose of through various kind of programs is a lot of those we are going to put use restrictions so that they stay affordable, and so we don't have approved locations for all of our public, but that will be coming down the time as we go through those units. So that answer your question.
And in regard to the ABC houses that you're talking about, I believe that we're letting those out in groups of flow.
Oh, the South City,
Yeah,
there's a
South City.
concentration. We still own those, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
And we're fixing them up with our ARPA funds right now. And we're going,
They're
okay.
from,
And we're putting those on the market in groups of 12. The goal is 75% homeowner. Again, passing generational wealth down. to people.
Yeah, the alphabet.
Yeah, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 25% of them are going for the rental market because it's, we got to focus on both because you do need rentals out there as well to help ease the market. So the houses, I think there's 43 total, 45 in the South City area. Those will be coming along. And we'll be putting those out on the market. I believe owner occupied is what we're going to focus on. I think there's 11 or 12 of them that are currently occupied. It's not a high number, so.
we actually are currently working on.
Yeah, those
Okay, so those
are.
are the properties that are kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was a frequent guest at Metro Cares back then.
Yeah. So like I said, yeah, we're getting those back on the market here shortly and.
A further question, you said that there are not been, but the money's allocated to different, whatever. What do you tell me what's sufficient? How do you know how much money you need to solve a problem that hasn't been solved in? Well,
it's,
50 years.
You're not ever gonna solve the problem, but you're gonna ease it and make it better. I mean, we're not gonna,
Yeah, okay.
there's no goal. There's not a finish line where you go, okay, we got rid of homelessness because
Mhm.
the next generation, there's gonna be issues. So,
I understand.
it's about the numbers and the numbers have been going up here lately. But people out on the street, so it's.
One quick observation, I'll kill my 5 minutes off. When the community police come in and talk to you, they tell you that rentals are a major contributor to the crime area.
Well, it depends
And I
on
can
how,
prove that from the house next door to me.
right, I mean, but it also depends, like, just because you're poor, you shouldn't have to live in a poor neighborhood, so. Or a bad neighborhood, I should say. So it's just looking at giving people options, lowering the the rent rate for everybody. The homeless situation is complex. Anybody says if you identify 2 or 3, you're wrong. It's 7 or 8 things that'll contribute, including addiction, including mental health. So we have to focus on those as well. You're right, there are some people who are just not suited for shelter life. But again, it's so complicated. It's like a spider web, and we just got to concentrate on the things that we can address, such as mental health. And
You know, one of my neighbors used to be a police person. He's over in Desert Storm and quasi-military, what do you call it, law enforcement type operation. They moved out because it bugged him when the sheriff and the fire department, and everybody came up and down 63rd Street with their sirens blaring. It was, you know, I don't know that it was big, he asked me, but that was the primary reason why they moved out to another part of town. Because it's not comfortable hearing all these sirens all the time. So, you know, there's no telling what motivates people to be where they are.
I'm gonna check in with the public for any other. George,
Do you all work for Sally Stang? Because Sally Stang, I've heard rumors, it's like the Wizard of Oz. I've heard of her, but I actually saw her on the city council meeting. I've asked her to call me and I've never got a call back. I talked with a neighbor today. It's funny that you guys should be talking about this, but she wanted to know about Section 8, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have any of the answers. You have some numbers or cards you can give me, and will you answer the phone call, because Sally won't, so, she's 2 up here and I'm 2 down
So
here.
Sally is like the hardest working employee we have. She's actually out of town today, and she's been attending meetings virtually in between stops at the airport.
I've
So,
talked to her for the last 2 years.
yeah.
I have a question. Oh,
I'm just gonna get here and back here.
I lived in Winston all my life. There was a shanty town just south of Farnham. And Reading used to be there. Well, these people are very delegated. I'm never very women. That used to be all shanties. And then they tore them down and built buildings in there. This problem's not new. We've had it since I was a kid. And that's 60-some years ago. So, I mean, it's getting worse. And I've asked one-on-one, some of them, why don't you ask for help? I love living off the grid. That was the comment. I kept getting living off the grid. Because that way, they don't pay taxes. You know, they don't get the robocalls and stuff. I mean, they don't want to be bothered. And they don't want to be governed. Every move they make, you know. And so they're happy where they're at. Yeah, they do. And some of them are ex-military. Hardworking people. Just been burnt by the system. And that's, I mean, that's the bottom line. It's the system that doesn't work with within their guidelines, you know. I just don't know. I keep hearing, you know, this is a problem. This is a problem. It's been a problem since the 50s. We used to have hobos and stuff. So I don't understand. I don't understand what the solution is. But I sure know that it's been around a long time.
Okay, we'll go back here to Sam Green.
Thank you for the presentation. The comment that it's this department that investors want to look into commercial. This department I didn't talk to.
No, that would be our economic development division within the city manager.
And my comment is, yes, there may be a few hundred people who want to be homeless. But that doesn't speak for the thousands, hundreds of thousands of don't want to be and are forced into homelessness. So just because my neighbor across the street or that person I talked to on the bridge wants to be there, they don't speak for the majority of people who are looking for affordable housing and housing that can be afforded, so thank you.
Marco?
Yes, that was a very good point. So, well, my question is about the area of Plainview. You know, Plainview has a lot of trash around. But there is a section in Plainview that has a very people homes. I don't know how they get them, but they have them very well taken care of. So those people over there, I don't know how they get them, I don't know how, if the city help or something, but I might. Because it's one section that I don't know if they purchase it at good price or something, but if they, if it's possible to do that and replicate that in that area. I mean, more people will be proud of what they have and don't have all the trust outside of their home. I'm not sure. I mean, what's
There's
going on there?
two sections, I think.
And before let me just finish my thought.
Yes, sir.
The other thing is that who is responsible for the trash? Is the renter or the owner of the home? I mean, I don't know.
According to our ordinance,
Somebody owns 20 units. In some places, they take care of the trash. And the renter doesn't have to worry about that. I don't know what is the case in Plainview, because it is a shame when you travel to that area, in a beautiful city like Wichita, when you see Born and Spirit and all these developments, and then you take the wrong turn, and where you are.
yeah, I mean,
I think, I don't know, but I think the city should look into that, look into how help those people get rid of all that trash and probably put some units there, I don't know.
in regards, I believe the ordinance is the renter is in charge of ensuring that they have trash, no?
No, the owner.
The owner?
The owner of the owner of the house, or the apartment, he has to make sure that his renter has it.
Okay,
But
yeah, I see.
he's on the hook if they don't have the trash or if they're making the trash, so the owner, I always go back to the owner. And then the renters, they get, raise their rent to compensate for the owner having to deal with it or get them out from there.
In regards to the spots in Plainview that you're talking about, there's two areas. One, was a number of doctors. There's a group there, called Doctors of Plainview. And there's another one that's, immigrants who have done well. They bought properties up there, they put the properties out and they rebuilt homes there. It's a community that's grown up in Plainview. They wanted to stay in Plainview. So they ended up just purchasing some of those homes and doing it themselves. So it wasn't city led or anything. We are working on some things with Plainview. Here, we're gonna have some pretty good programs to talk about and things that are gonna be going on in that neighborhood.
Okay, get all the questions.
One more question. What is the current advertised population of the city of Wichita? Is it still around 380,000?
398, I
What they say 400,000? How many are identified as homeless?
according to our last point in time count, 702. 702.
So it's not hundreds of thousands of homeless, thank you.
Well, I think they were talking about nationwide.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to Dad, because I did ask another question to comment.
Maybe a comment more than Dab in general. I wonder when, and maybe it's always been this way, having gone from a group that identifies solutions and opportunities to just being here to complain, how unfortunate that is. So I'd love to hear the comments and questions that are looking to identify opportunities for us as a community. Just a thought. And then on this point that Cole made about purchasing a home, are you in District 3? I take it. I also purchased my first home in District 3 a couple years ago. So I think that maybe one of these areas that's not necessarily a need, but an asset for Wichita District 3 is that we're a really affordable place to purchase a home for the first time. There's a lot of negative perceptions about District 3 and South Wichita. Unfortunately, we hear a lot of them in the staff. But I think that we could reframe that as an opportunity for first-time homeowners to come into Wichita into South Wichita because they are a really important place to buy for the first people that don't need to be in there, you know, 4-bed, 3-bed, 4-bed, 3-bath house, but downsizing or entering the market for the first time. I think that South Wichita and District 3 is a really great place to do that.
Awful lot of that goes back to more time.
Well, I guess I just kind of wanted to, I think I'm. It's been a long day and I kind of got off the field of where you guys, what your presentation is about these grants. So you're here to help us apply for this upcoming 5-year consolidated plan. It's very honoring, thanks to the lovely folks at HUD, because federal PR. That's where you come in to help the city navigate putting that together, so we can maximize it from HUD. Which on average per year, we have been getting around $5 million for our city of $255,000, which is to help the 700 homeless people. So, all right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think what Gentry was saying kind of really, and then even Marco's comment about the Lakeview area really kind of circles back to, you know, potential areas to really maximize our dollars and get the best result. It really does come back to investing in these neighborhood associations to be neighbors to be strengthened, and then figuring out how to incentivize buying a house, taking advantage of our affordable housing stock, and maybe figuring out how to help people realize, hey, you could buy a $60,000 house in Schroeder that maybe needs $20,000 worth of work put into it, and have a beautiful house, and you're not having to spend $220,000. Thank you all for your presentation.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going.
Thank you.
And number 7, which is update issues and reports, and Councilman Hoheisel will you start.
Yes.
I would just like to bring up, you know, we lost a dad. Part of last dad meeting. Were you gonna talk about Ron, and were you gonna talk about it?
We did unfortunately lose Ron Tracy, I believe, the day after corporation or not sure.
I want to give this
He
photo.
He did a lot of good. He had years of dedication service to the community. He served as a state rep for a while.
Association.
And he was, of course, he was active in unions and active in that. So
we have.
Our thoughts are definitely with Mom and his family. And I'd like to just take a moment for a quick moment of silence for a while. Cindy said this is the second time we lost this year. Both have been really good people who have really invested a lot in our community. That in itself is great legacy. That's something I don't believe behind. I see so many members here. That's going to be part of their legacies as well. It's trying to leave behind a better world for our children that we can children that can sit back with these neighbors' kids. So I appreciate you all being here. And like I've said before, we're a family here on the south side. We might follow it. We might get on each other's nerves every once in a while, but we're here doing good work because we're in each other and in our community. So let's keep moving forward stronger and make it with that, a couple of notes. It hasn't been real active in city council the last couple of weeks since last time we talked. They did discuss a couple of things we had, the housing deals that came up. We had a workshop here recently regarding the tree policy. We're going to keep pushing forward on that. We're still in the negative with trees. That is not okay. So we just gotta be smart about where we utilize our resources and reach out to people and have collaboration. So again, there's a couple of groups out there, Tree Canopy, ICP Trees, a few others, and we're just going to keep reaching out and working with them as well. USC 259 has a project going on about planting trees as well. There's somebody else who brought bring your toilet paper cartridges in, and that can be used to help get the cycle going. So look out for that. Any programs like that you'd like to help with. A lot of these are volunteer based. Sometimes the government's not the best answer, right? So definitely getting out there with some of these groups out there and collaborating is breaking that with Amaya missed tonight because she was celebrating East High, her alma mater, or the school that she's going to. They have a 100-year anniversary celebration going on. Paul, yeah, graduate, yeah. Anybody else in here?
Don't know the people.
But this weekend, she just wanted to make sure everybody knew. Friday's a 100-year homecoming game against Emporia. It's going to be played at East, which I think is relatively new. Yeah. They have things going on all day Saturday. They have a parade. They have cheer and dancers out there. So if you guys are doing anything Saturday, apart from neighborhood cleanups, of course, you can go on out to the East Side and enjoy the celebrations. Platt Park, I pulled 500,000 from Platt Park's funding for the year 2030. We put into Platt Park and just make sure that we have the pledging on that would be one, and what we did. So then of course the parking lot to make sure that all these things are going to be affordable and that they're all going to be included in the plan. So I just wanted to give a heads up that I did bump up some of that money. Where the council member is, even if I win re-election, I won't be the council member when that money comes down the pipeline. So a little forward thinking right now, of course. This playground is going to be at the end of the city. And it's going to be a great thing. You shouldn't have to pack your kid, your disabled kid until the car and drive 20-25 minutes across town. So when the design comes out, I've been checking in on the design. I think that's some really cool things for these kids. So that's going to be a great thing coming down the pipe as well. Candy Crawl is going to be at 5 on October 20th. I think. I've done it the last 2 years. It's great. You go out there, you see all the kids all dressed up. WT's out there, fires out there. Doug, who runs the clubhouse there for his salt, he's going to be out there. It's a great event. If you got kids, come on out. If you just want to see some kids, come on out as well. October 20th. Yeah, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. District breakfast. Pastor Moore, we are actually going to be going with Pastor Moore and his congregation. They have many churches down to the Plainview area. I apologize, I do not have the exact address with me right now. It will be posted on our district site. Moved out of the Christian Life Center there on South Broadway, which that building's open. So if you know people who are looking at that real estate, I'm sure they'd love to have somebody utilize that building. So we, look out for the district page because we do have district breakfast coming up next Saturday. And right now it's slated to be the mayor to give an update. We just have to make it, whoever the mayor is on a yearly basis, give an update on things going on in the city. We had last year. Whoever the mayor is next year, we'll invite them as well. A little bit, there's going to be some news coming out over the next couple of days about saying that we're not going to have emergency homeless shelters opening up. I would say stick a pin in that and stay tuned because we actually have pretty good plans going on, and I think there's some exciting in the next couple of weeks. Just be mindful of that as you see some of the news reports out. I think the concern is a little overblown, but it's something that we are definitely working on, and again, I think there's going to be some solid news coming out. You know, regardless of your stance, you can't let people sit on the street and freeze in the middle of the night. So we're going to make sure that that's good. The last thing I'd like to point out, I did miss a sizable chunk of September because my family and I got COVID. COVID rates are going up again. I had it, all right, my wife and my niece, they had it off and maybe a half a day of aches and pains. And he's eating at the same time. I just like to say it's not to watch people that get low. So this is my first time and I felt useless. So see mine, that's all I'm saying. I know there's a lot of politics that go into COVID, but just keep in mind you got your family at home. He's doing great now. He's back to his lovely army, so he's sprawling around. My house is not prepared for anything that crawls. So we're pulling everything off the shelves and reorganizing as we go. Yeah. But again, just. But it's safe and healthy, so. Take whatever precautions that you feel that you should. Protect yourself. And this one's a little different because there's some intestinal issues along with it, so. Yeah, not too fun. That is the updates on that. If anybody has any questions.
Yeah, we need to get a better directional microphone for that.
I'm not sure if there even is one. I'm looking at this,
I don't know. Yeah.
I think technology is. And Teresa's been filling in. Becca is out of town for some training today. She just got back later this evening. So thank you, Teresa, for coming. She is the District 2 and District 5 CSR. She's been on board the last 4 months now. So she's doing a great job. But it's always fun to bring people down to the 3rd district.
She was the director of
marketing elevate them.
on the Wichita Arts.
Yes, we was from the art museum.
I did try to detect it, so,
So, Councilman Holmes. Grass, the vacancy of vice chair.
Oh, yes, yeah, we'll fill the position. If you guys would like at the next meeting, of course, if you're, the vacancy of vice chair. Those, whoever's interested in that, since she's fair, and of course, it's your dad, you guys that. And they would fill the position and when Cindy it is, and I see this.
And I would like to have somebody that's a vice chair, so if I had any decision, I could.
But like Speaker of the House, if you just appoint somebody, anybody from there.
I don't know.
Two topics.
How many are on your board?
11 spots.
But how many are already on there right now?
8, I believe.
Paul's here all the time. You might as well put him there. He's all the time. Might as well put him up there.
Well, yeah, but you control them.
Yeah, there's geographic. We're trying to make sure that we have, and we discussed this earlier. So if there's a position that opens up from the south there, we just can't rely too heavily. So, I know that, we've had a couple of people interested, filling some positions here. So I'm not sure if they're still interested, especially if they're sitting through some of these, but. Again, I just try and make sure that every area of our district is.
Plain I have, sometimes we have. If there was somewhere we could have maybe 2 or 3 day notice. On what the presentation wants, and maybe we would think of better questions of what we're trying to. Probably the ladies did an excellent job. I feel like we're frustrated. I'm frustrated because I didn't know what the information was gonna be until I got here.
Would it, Now, would it be helpful if we send the PowerPoint over, or are you talking more of like a summary of what's coming up?
I just feel like sometimes, or tell them, we'll think about it, we give you some input, and you can present it better.
Okay, I appreciate that, and you're always welcome to send whatever input, email me, call me, whatever. Shoot me input all day long, I love to pass it along. I'm begging you guys every time I talk about it, let me know what you think about the budget. I don't hear too many people on that, but
I did learn a new term today, title of funding. It's been around a while. But it's giving you.
And I know Rick
Yeah, I think you were calling on me. I heard part of your exclamation there. No, I just wanted to, right now, the 30-year fixed is 8.4%. Right? It's super, super expensive to buy a house anywhere. And we have people in Wichita, if you look at this, at the stats from the feds, from the census, we're a poor city. I mean, there's a lot of people that are below the median income level for poverty level. And so we have people that are in very tenuous situations pretty much all the time with their income and their ability to afford their mortgage and everything else, right? And we're living in an extraordinary time period right now with huge prices for everything, right? And so I don't believe that the government is ever going to solve a homeless problem. There's always going to be. Because like it was said earlier, some people do want to be homeless, but most of the people, I don't believe people want that life. And if they're in it, they want to get out. And I've spent time reading forums where the homeless post and where poverty finance people, and the struggle is very real. But let's not. I want to see where all these affordable single family houses are in Wichita, because what I see is a giveaway to developers to take apart existing neighborhoods, some of which are fully functional, by this idea of densification. And it's just an absolute giveaway. And there's no regard for any energy that a neighborhood might have. We don't care. We're putting limited commercial in there, right? Or we're putting all of these multi units buildings in your single family neighborhood. The area for places of people is comically large. It knocks on Eastborough's door. It's ridiculous that they're going to densify these things, and those are token. It's just a pretty name for kicking the poor people out of Wichita, pushing them further out. Where are these affordable houses? Where are the affordable apartments, for that matter? So we are negative on the DAB because there are serious problems, not just in Wichita, but around the entire globe. And honestly, if Wichita wants to plan for the future, they should buy great tracts of open land and get ready for tent cities. Because if we continue on the pace that we're on, that's what we're looking at. So let's continue to address the problems realistically in Wichita. That's it.
Thanks, Rich. I'm looking up at the screen and I'm noticing that canvas fixed right on my. Don't look, work on that as well. Yeah, my niece lets me know about my bald spot.
Just a question. The housing units that is part of this plan is like, they're not just for homeless, right? Just standing in. Yes, there's a small part of it to address homelessness, the 700 or so homeless people. But my understanding is the bulk of it is to provide affordable housing for Wichita, which has 300, what was the population?
398.
Okay, I'm just making, because there's this group of housing for homelessness, and like, that's not what the plan is all about.
Right, and
It's just a small part of it.
It is, and
Right.
I've talked to it about, I've mentioned this before, I think I mentioned it here, but, the last time I checked, again, you might have more up to date numbers, but, the unoccupancy rate in Wichita was 25%. And that led to places like St. Anthony's Homeless Shelter, bring people in, they get them situated, they find work for them, and they find the housing for them. It used to be like a 6-week turnaround to get families in and out. The last time I talked to them, it was 6 months. And it's because there's just no affordable housing for them to build to. We're running into that with the vouchers too, because we get vouchers that people help them do their rent. When the federal funding ran out for that last October, for about a month straight, that's the main thing I was doing is getting people, especially people that live in my district. We can't afford this anymore. The federal funds ran out. We're about to be emergency, so we're scrambling around trying to find, and we're talking families, we're talking single moms with kids. It's the same thing that happened after in my garden. After we had a property owner there, started kicking out anybody who they believed. They had talked to the property manager. Property manager said, you don't have to pay rent until we fix it, or until you find some place. Then the property owner comes to town after we track him down through 9 states. Comes to town and he puts eviction notices on everybody who has any outstanding debt, even though they believe they didn't have to pay rent until. So single moms with kids who had pocket funds up and down the back. We're trying to find housing for them. People with disabilities, elderly people. So it is, it's a very big, complicated issue. I think that's one of the ideas about multifamily units is, like Ginger said, it's gotta be all hands on deck. Everybody's right. Like literally every single person who has an opinion on this is right, but it's so complicated. We want to get people into houses where they own pass down generational wealth. We want to have units on the market, so that way the it is or it's staying stable, so people, they're not priced out of their homes, which does. So we want to preserve neighborhoods, because we don't want to just come in and pollute them with duplexes that don't have the characteristics of the neighborhood. It's all hands on deck. We're doing everything we can. It's definitely an issue. It's on the it's not every day, and we do see some good things coming out of the pipe with it. So I guess the frustration is currently with developers. And with inflation and the prices of materials, I think that's one of the focuses, one of the reasons they are focusing on multi-family units now is because you get a bigger bang for the buck. You're essentially building a house, but then you can split it into two. So there's a lot of frustration with that, but at the same time, those are still needed as well. But we need to make sure we do it in a very concerted way, where we're taking everything into consideration, and like Rich said, with this point that we're not just dumping a lot of these in the middle of neighborhoods who have been single family units for a while, and so it's very terrific. So welcome to my job. Everybody gets a little bit of something, and everybody gets a reason to be angry at the council members. So,
Rich, did you have another question?
Well, I just wanted to say that, the fact that 75% of these houses are going to owner occupied is because the citizens put their hands up and said, hey, wait a minute. We don't want these going to developers. We don't want them to be given away for nothing. We want them to go to people. So please continue to advocate for fair housing. And please be in mind that MAPC voted to no longer allow the public to participate in their meetings remotely. So you can go in, apparently you can see them on Facebook and you can watch, but you have no input. They also voted to have no more than 3 citizens speak to a zoning issue at a meeting. So they're limiting our public speech there again. And we've all heard from council over the past couple of years, we don't want to hear people repeat themselves. We don't want to, and I can understand that. And so that's why I'm urging the WIN board to adopt a civil engagement academy type of program that teaches us how to better advocate for the interests of our neighborhoods. And I think that's really important. We have to, one more thing on this MAPC vote. At the end of it, they wanted to make an amendment that said that that included all the other planning meetings. And I know that the attitude with realtors and developers is that anybody that has a complaint is a NIMBY. And I've heard that spoken, that word used by some of our city council folk who are especially fond of these organizations in the past as well. That is nothing but just a brush off of very serious and real concerns that people have about certain types of development in their neighborhoods. Don't be deterred by that label. This MAPC was way out of line passing, and I do want to say that Cindy voted no. She said she thinks that we should have continued access to that. I believe Ann Fox as well, and Miss Hunt, I think was also the other naysayer on that attempt. But it was a verbal vote. You can find their names by watching that board meeting. It comes at the end. Thank you.
65, correct?
65.
65, one vote, so.
For Councilman Wise.
Paul?
Well, I just wanted to tag on about Ron Tracy, you know, for those who don't know. He was executive director of Riverside Drainage. In that, when Dave Stuckey died, the three-person district board, Dave's daughter was also on there. When Dave died, she got on part of it. So that left Ron being the, what do you call it, the institutional memory for the dog. We are, you've heard the phrase when the people die of library burns. We don't even know where the library was. Because we, our third member moved out of the district and went out for election last time. We did get a new member. He has been appointed to executive director. I stayed on as secretary treasurer. And just for your edification, we appointed Darren Cyril as our third member. And he seems to be very interested, asking a lot of pertinent questions. Hopefully we'll get this ship back on the right course. But it's been increasingly awkward without Ron.
I can imagine. A funny story about that. During the last election, because you had you and Ron who were running, there was a 7-way tie for third place.
Right, with 3 votes each, wasn't it?
4 votes.
4 votes.
And somebody wrote, 4 people wrote me in for that position.
Oh,
And so, they said, well, we're just gonna draw out of a hat, whoever gets it, gets it.
yeah, then we had no contact and the guy that eventually got it, they go, oh, well, here, I want it. And luckily he was real close. Would be at his house.
Yeah, I know. Politely.
He's a doctor, chiropractor and substitute teacher at Hayesville. You know, we're not dealing with a dummy there.
Right. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, you know, Ron will be missed.
He will. And with that, I turn it back over to you and everybody drive home safe and stay safe until the next one I see you.
And that, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Yeah, motion by Mr. Luke, and second by Victory. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.